Right, so I want you all to think about the market right now. Let's look at the S&P, all-time highs, the Nasdaq, all-time highs, commodities, we've got gold up 56% year over year. It feels like we're in a massive bubble right now. What if I told you there was a stock that has partnerships with Google, Nvidia, and OpenAI? What if I told you this same stock is investing heavily in AI? What if I told you the same stock has a recurring revenue business model? So every year, customers using this business will pay more and more each year to keep their subscription with the business. What if I told you that despite all these things, this business is down 80% from all-time highs? You'd think I'd be lying in this market. Right, so I won't withhold the stock from you for any longer. It's called UiPath, ticker symbol PATH. And essentially what this company is it is an automation company, and it uses traditionally robots, and it's leading into AI to help automate various tasks across different businesses. So we're going to start off with how the company was traditionally run. So the automation they use was a thing called RPA, and what RPA stands for is Robotic Process Automation. And essentially what this is, it's in the name. You get robots and you get them to do tasks. These aren't big metal robots. This is software, robotic software. And these will perform tasks that are usually quite repetitive, usually done by humans, by any human to be fair, because of how easy the task is. And it'll be things like data entry, or moving one file from one place to another, maybe automating invoices, things like that. Things that are usually done by humans, but can be done by anyone. And essentially, the common theme with these tasks is they're very rules-based. So this is what RPA uses. You give it instructions on how to do that task, and it will perform each one of those instructions. The issue is with RPA is when it encounters something that breaks the rules. So say you've told it to move one file from one place to another, and the place where it's moving a file to, I don't know, for example, is too full. There's not enough storage. In this instance, the RPA can't function anymore. It won't work, and the task has to have quite a significant human intervention. So you've got to rewire the robot so that it knows what to do when it encounters this problem again. So it can be very lengthy, and it can be a bit tedious having to change the rules every time. But anyway, UiPath, using robotic process automation, has accumulated quite a large customer base, which is good because now it is evolving with the market. With the mass adoption of AI, UiPath is heavily transforming their business into becoming an AI software company rather than an RPA company. So we're going to look at a thing called agentic automation. And what agentic automation does is it uses large language models like ChatGPT, and it uses them to enable software agents. So if you don't know what an agent is, it's essentially a bit of software, and you give it an area of your business to operate in. Essentially, the more data you feed it and the more you teach it, the more efficient it becomes in solving tasks in that area of the business. So say we went back to the file example with the RPA earlier. We had the robot moving files from one place to another. It encounters a storage issue and it doesn't know what to do. Difference is, if you're using an agent, in this situation, it has been collecting data, it has been learning from the task, and it has the ability to make its own solutions to the problems it encounters. So say the file was, the place you're moving the file, the storage was full. The robot would suggest ways of possibly removing things that aren't useful from that file to open up storage. Possibly it will suggest making another file to move the stuff into. It becomes essentially a master at that process and in this section of the business. So as you can see, the difference between RPA and these AI agents are pretty significant. They can do the same things as robots, but they've also got that added intelligence which can help them reason and suggest solutions and even implement solutions to these problems. As you can see at the bottom of this slide, the most sophisticated agents can monitor their own performance and improve over time. As scary as it sounds, a lot of jobs are going to get destroyed by the use of AI. And in my opinion, I believe it's inevitable. They're going to do it either way. You've just got to make the best out of a bad situation. I believe investing in AI is something we have to do, even though the outcomes are bad. Because if I'm not going to invest, someone else will, and they're going to get the gains. So we're going to look at, pardon me, we'll look at a case study of how UiPath business model works. Working in the NHS here, and we're looking at pediatric NHS referrals. I couldn't tell you what pediatric means, but I've heard it thrown about. Sounds quite complicated. So a pediatric referral takes an NHS worker 40 minutes of manual data extraction and entry into downstream systems. So this process takes a long time and it's highly repetitive. And as you can see here, there is an estimated 10% error rate. So as you know, humans, we're not perfect, we fuck up. So then UiPath implemented Ada, a digital worker. And essentially what Ada does is she utilizes intelligent automation to read referrals from the doctors and essentially extract the most important information into these referrals to speed up the process. We've got this quote here saying, "The team see Ada as part of the workforce. She has a backstory. She's been welcomed with open arms." I'm not sure the person whose job she replaced welcomed Ada. I'm not sure they got along very well. But nonetheless, the outcomes and benefits that Ada provided was she dropped referral time from 40 minutes down to less than 5 minutes. She also dropped the error rate from 10% down to less than 1%. And this saved an annual £16,000 for this branch of the NHS, which, for just one small example, is quite significant. And if you think about it, if this can save the NHS 16,000, they'll be willing to pay, I don't know, to save 16 grand, you'd spend a significant amount, up to like 10 grand. I don't know how much they charge. I should probably look into that. UiPath has partnerships with some big dogs like Google, OpenAI, and Nvidia. But you sort of have to take these partnerships with a pinch of salt. This is because they often need each other's products to perform their tasks. So it's not essentially a choice to partner with them. It's more a necessity. But anyway, UiPath uses OpenAI models for its agents. So its agents are powered by the OpenAI large language models. They use NVIDIA chips because They work in places like healthcare, like we saw earlier, and NVIDIA chips are essentially powerful and trustworthy. So, as you can see, they're working with some pretty big guys here. Right, I did look into their most recent financial report. These are some of the big numbers. So we've got a 1.723 billion ARR, which is annual recurring revenue. So this is from subscription services, which they have with their various companies that they work with. And this is growing 11% year over year, which double figure growth, you can't complain. And I'm hoping that as AI skyrockets, these numbers, these growth figures will increase a bit more. There is some caveats though, which I'll talk about in a bit. We've got 108% dollar-based net retention rate. So if you've got a dollar-based net retention rate over 100%, essentially means customers are spending more and more of you each year. So say you had a Netflix subscription 1 year, cost 10 quid, and then the next year you're paying £15 for your Netflix subscription, but you're keeping the subscription. You've got 150% dollar-based net retention rate. We've got 10,820 customers. It's quite a lot, isn't it? Not much more to say on that. And then we've got 2,500 customers, which are spending over £100,000 with them year after year. So we've got 2,500 pretty big companies working with these guys if they're able to drop £100,000 on this business every year, which is a very good sign, because often these big companies will analyse each other, their competitors, and analyse what processes, what software they're using, and often steal these ideas from their competitors to keep up with each other. So if big companies are using UiPath, that's a very good sign. There are some caveats though. Caveats. Don't know how to say it. So we've got the slowing down of revenue growth. So I said earlier, I'm hoping it expands. This is where I'm a bit worried, because this AI boom's been around, I'd say about a year or two now. And last year's third quarter 3 revenue, maybe quarter 2 revenue, it had a 21% year over year growth rate from the year before. So overall growth rate has gone from 21% year over year down to 11%, which isn't ideal. I'm hoping this is just a blip. It could be to do with the fact that the business is bigger now. It's harder to grow as much, but it's not the best sign. And then I also thought another caveat was the likes of competitors. So we've got Microsoft, who have their Copilot Studio product. An issue is with Microsoft is a lot of businesses already use Microsoft and it's integrated into their business systems. So if Microsoft's Copilot can perform the same type of automation as UiPath's product can, a business who's already integrated Microsoft so heavily into their company is probably going to adopt an automation software from Microsoft. The thing is with Microsoft, they do so much, whereas they have so many different revenue streams, they do so much different things. UiPath is strictly an automation company. So hopefully it has that advantage over Microsoft in that sense. I will say I've invested a decent couple £1,000 into UiPath. I believe it is fairly high risk, and you've got to look at it in the sense that we're currently in a AI arms race. Every company is pumping big money into AI, and like the dot-com bubble about 10 about 15 years ago, 15, 16 years ago, where we had all these tech companies, the internet was blowing up, everyone was putting money into these tech companies, they're all becoming overvalued. You have your Googles, your Facebooks, Meta. They made it out of the dot-com bubble crash. But there was also plenty of other companies that you don't hear of that didn't make it out of that fire. So the key is with the AI arms race, you want to find a company that when the crash does happen, it has a strong enough business model to persevere through that crash. And that is why I haven't gone too heavy into this company, because I don't know whether it is one of the AI top dogs yet. So yeah, like I say, do your own due diligence, do your own look at the company for yourself before making an investment. This is obviously quite a brief breakdown. I thought I'd throw something together quickly to try and showcase what this company is and why it's getting the hype it is recently. Thank you for watching, and like and subscribe.